Hi everyone and welcome to Classic Gamer 74. I'm your host Anthony Ventrilo, and in today's episode number 22 we're going to discuss Dark Chambers in our continuing with the best of the Atari 2600 series. Dark Chambers was a late release by Atari as it came out in 1988, being programmed by John Pelovich. This was a bad time for the Atari Corporation as Nintendo and their Nintendo Entertainment System had been dominating the video game market. So this was a last-ditch attempt for Atari to try to hang on to its place in the video game world. Atari had acquired the rights to many of the games that were made from previous companies, such as Coleco and Parker Brothers, and all games from that time period were re-released with red labels, such as Donkey Kong and Q*bert. They also had to create new games, ones that were a lot more technologically advanced than the previous Atari 2600 games, in hopes that they may be able to compete on the same level as the Nintendo Entertainment System. Such examples of this were Roadrunner and, of course, Solaris, that was discussed in an earlier episode. They even redesigned and re-released the Atari 2600 as the much slimmer and less bulky Atari 2600 Junior. And the creation of the Atari Advantage Program was a marketing idea that hoped to bring back the vintage players to Atari. Alright, let me explain briefly how the Atari Advantage Program worked. You would buy cartridges from Atari, and then you could save the proof of purchases, and then you could get free prizes for buying games. For instance, if you bought 5 games, you would get a free Atari t-shirt. If you bought 15 games, you would get a free Atari game cartridge. And if you bought 25 games, you could get an Atari 7800 system for $25 or get an Atari XE system for only $50. Now, also, if you got 25 games, you could also become eligible to enter an essay writing contest to win the grand prize, an expense-paid trip for you and a guest to California, including a visit to Atari headquarters to see how Atari games are designed. In the midst of all this rapid change in the video game industry, Dark Chambers was created. So let's check it out. Okay, so here is the summary of the game. This is from the instruction manual. You're on a dangerous search deep underground. Wraiths, wizards, and moldering skeletons surround you. Even now, a Grim Reaper stalks you. The exits take you, where? Only deeper into the maze. Find weapons in the darkness and fend off your elusive enemies. Claim the treasure and fight your way even deeper into the caverns. Your strength will outlast the weaker ghouls, but are you a match for the strongest? Okay, so again, you're lost in Dark Chambers. Enemies, treasures, and curses are scattered through all 26 levels from A to Z. Your goal is to survive all levels and take the greatest amount of treasure. Only by finding the hidden gates can you descend from one level to the next. Okay, so the enemies you have are some different types of ghouls. At times they chase you, and other times they run away from you. But you better be careful, because if they run away from you, it means they're leading you further away from the exit. Okay. Now you got to watch out for these curses too. You have traps and poison. If you touch them, they take away your strength. And what else is interesting about this game is you also have, it's one of the first 2-player co-op games. So you actually have a friend can play with you and help you get through this game. Like I said, you have at the bottom of the screen, you have your space bar down there that's showing your energy. And as you continue on throughout the game, the exits get a little more elusive to find, and then there's passages that seem to go nowhere. But I'll be honest with you, this game is a lot of fun. It didn't get as high of reviews as some people thought it deserved. But again, at this time, the NES was pretty much dominant, and this game kind of went largely ignored. And now, of course, the popularity has kind of got a resurgence because people are rediscovering a lot of the games that they missed back in the day. I'm going to have an episode later on where I talk about some of the lost classics, games that came out after the 83 and 84 video game crash that kind of went largely ignored, but in my opinion were classics nonetheless. And this game is definitely an example of it. A lot of people compare this to Gauntlet, which was a computer game that Atari created back in the day and is really, even to this day, has a big following. I myself really enjoyed the game, but it was never ported out to the 2600 or 7800 or even the 5200. It was a game you only found on computers until later the NES actually did port it out, and it became a big hit for them. Okay, now you see I'm kind of wandering around. Now look over there, you can see the exit. I got to find a way to get into it. Oop. There's one of those spawners. Those things are. Oh, and look, check it out. Right. Anytime you see something with X, though, stay away from it because it means it's poison or it's a booby trap. So, all right, we're on level E. Some of these levels, it's really easy to get your way through it. Other ones, you'll just be wandering around for like forever trying to, get out of there. But a really fun game. Unfortunately, Atari never did get the save game option like Nintendo did, which would have really helped in this game because it takes you quite a while to get through the whole game. But later on, of course, Nintendo came up with the idea of, save the game so you can come back and play it later. Oh, nope, not in this one. You got to play it from beginning to end. And there I went, just got in a big hurry, and I grabbed the poison. You could see my life energy went down. But like I said, as you go along, you pick up better weapons, there's treasures, and all kinds of fun stuff. I mean, yeah, it does remind me a lot of Gauntlet. The only difference is that in Gauntlet, you have a lot more enemies coming at you, and those spawners just send them out to you like crazy. So, if you haven't played Gauntlet yet, which I think just about everybody has, this will kind of prepare you for it. So this is like the pre-Gauntlet in a lot of ways, even though Gauntlet actually came out years earlier. Okay, there we go. That's the potion I need. Sometimes it's good to just ignore them and run away from them, but there's the exit. And you never know where you're going to find it. However, there are maps of the levels all over the internet that you can download and, to make it easier to find your way through these levels. Like I said, some of these levels, it's real easy to get in and out of. Others, like I said, you'll just be playing forever. Like I said, okay, there's the lock. Now we just got to find the key. Usually when you find in the earlier levels like this one, when you see a lock like that, usually the exit is right behind it, but nope, not in this case. There it is. Alright, we're at level G, so yeah, we got a long way to go. It's funny how, like, when you shoot your enemies, they kind of change, Oops. I think that's supposed to be an evil dwarf. That's what I always kind of assumed it was. Anyway, this is a good spot to, I think you get a pretty good idea of how the game works. So this is a pretty good place to stop, because if I don't, we're going to be here for hours. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to click on that thumbs up and give us a like, and subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to get to our goal of 50 subscribers, so please help us out. If you have any games that you feel belong on the best of the Atari 2600 series, let us know in the comments section below, and you may see it on a later episode. Well, this is Anthony Ventrilo. Thank you for stopping by, and I will see all of you in the next episode. Until then, have a blessed day. Goodbye.